Popcast. The Cub hat could mean something? No, it couldn't. But I like the Cubs. That's what it means. What's the star? Oh, it's a subscriber. Oh, hey, wait a minute. That bucket of butter person. I did some research on them, trying to figure out who they are. Forgot to give them a shout out. Just went sub crazy last week. It is, Haya. And before you go with the joke of like, oh wait, no, it's not dude, it's just Popgun. Yes, I am your favorite streamer. It's a fact. Music's loud? I can fix that. How's that? There is no music actually in the podcast. Improved, that's good. I don't have much interesting or important things to say until another 10 minutes, but the music is supposed to entice you guys to stay. Otherwise you wouldn't. Hiya. Pre-show's the best part? What about... No, the best part is the hour of content that I spend writing all night. If the pre-show's the best part, then I should just do this for the entire episode of the podcast. Just stand here, play music, and just read your stupid comments in chat. Hiro, Omori? What is that? Oh, that's the, this is Hero Fan Club. I don't know what this is. According to amori.fandom.com/wiki/hero, this person is male. Their age in their head is 15, but in the real world is 19 approximate. Their birthday is January 1st. Lead skill is Charm and Animal Assist. Location in their head is the neighbor's room. Far away is Kel's house. Who's Kel? Relatives, a bunch of unnamed people. Oh, Kel is the younger brother. Okay. And Sally is his younger sister. Ooh, Mari is or M-A-R-I, Mary is the love interest. How about that? There you go. Now I've learned everything I need to know about Hiro Mori. This pop gun's at work. This pop gun used to be able to work from home, but they decided that death is a alternative as well that they're willing to shoot for there. Oh, this is a game? I thought it was just an anime. Why do you guys want me to play it so much? Is there what is there to it? Hello, Thicey Bread. Hello, Vincent. Hello, Boing. Boing, I got a question. Why do you guys constantly send Damp Waffle to ask me absurd questions? Like, what are you guys up to over there at Thimbo IHOP Land? You gift me while I played on stream? No. I will not. And I'm more than capable. I don't need you to gift me anything. There's something I want, I can get it myself. Although I am trying to get in the habit of when people give me something to say thank you instead of just being like, oh, you didn't have to do that. Yeah, I'm no longer your favorite. Well, life's full of disappointments. Good thing the Popcast is here so that you can get through your disappointments in life early. Beg him not to do it. I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Oh, Debbie, I thought about wearing my West Broadway Grillers shirt today, but I feel like I've already worn it recently. My West Broadway, or I guess just the Grillers now. The Griller jersey I got. You're taller than me, but half my age. I could still beat you up. if we were to get in the cage and battle each other, I could destroy you, Haya. I don't care how much taller you are than me, Pipsqueak. You don't carry me. You don't buy me out, I buy you out. Nobody wants Splash is overrated. Unless it's not. Hydra is the most difficult weapon to play in this game. Where's your money? I already sent you money. Blaster is difficult, yes. In this economy, yeah, Blaster is pretty hard. Hooligans. Like 80% of my chat is hooligans. It's fine. I can... Someone has to keep these hooligans in line. That is Haya's job, actually. He does a good job of it. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're trying to counterpick the map you have already won on in the current set, making tier lists for the best Pokemon in Pokemon Unite, watching old episodes of the Popcast to cut up specific sound bites so that you can make the most impressive competitive Splatoon meme video of all time. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Can we take a moment to talk about that Wiggly Phantom video that came out Saturday? How awesome, how hilarious is that? That the Wiggly Phantoms, for their standards, definitely didn't have a good low ink. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. They did not have a good low ink for their standards, especially with what they did in SOS leading up to low ink, where they won Lantern Bracket, sweeping Tooniverse, Vaporwave, and I believe beating a Ink Eye pickup to win Lantern Bracket there. So that was... not a good result for them, but still, the how did they make that video? It was Jub that made it, but like how? Some people were coming to me and saying, "Did you do voiceover for that?" I didn't. So they must have looked through like several episodes of the Popcast to find me saying those specific words and then cutting them out and making it look like it all sounded clear too. It wasn't like Wiggly Phantom plus nice win over both. No, it was like how, like it was so clear. It and like all the other little editing things they had, like the Plinko board. Usually it's just got dollar signs at the bottom there where the Plinko chips fall into. How they switched it over to the different results you can get and their score. Like so much editing in that is mind-boggling. How they were able to do that in one day is beyond me. So that the Wiggly Phantoms, man, how you take a bad Saturday and turn it into awesomeness That's an example of how you do it right there. And I think that's why the Wiggly Phantoms are seen as everybody's favorite team. I mean, they got almost 200 people following their team's Twitter. That's a lot of for following a team's Twitter. That's a lot of people. And man, when those guys win Low Ink someday, I hope they stay. I hope they never disband. I hope like somebody needs to sponsor these guys and like lock them into a contract to where they have to play this game for the next 5 years. Yeah, DT doesn't have 100. Well, we don't make actual good content, Haya, on our team Twitter, so that explains that. But I just wanted to point that out. People were asking, did I do voiceover for that? I did not. I didn't even know that was coming. I just looked. I got on Twitch Saturday night or Twitter Saturday night, had 16 notifications. I was like, oh, great, what's going on now? And I saw that video, and I just laughed my ass off for like a full hour just watching it. So I just wanted to acknowledge it. That was cool. Nice work, Wiggly Phantoms. Now go get some wins next month. Unless you don't. Happy birthday to Cannon of Luau. Asked me to give a happy birthday shout out. I'm not going to give all you guys happy birthday shout outs because I don't like all of you. But Luau has been a cool team to Destiny Troops for a long time. And Cannon likes to thinks baldness is a choice. For some of us, it's not. So happy birthday to Cannon. Congratulations. What are you now? You're now 18, right? By judging by that baby face you got there. Man, what a weekend. What do you guys want to talk about first? Honestly, I mean, so many crazy things happened this past weekend. And it's just, it's so crazy to think that, you know, sometimes behind the curtains here, sometimes it'll be like Saturday night or Sunday morning. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do a Popcast episode tomorrow, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to talk about. And then you have weekends like this where it's like, oh my goodness, how am I going to find times to talk about everything before I need to leave and go to work? And thank God for these Nintendo tournaments, this constantly coming up with bull crap week in and week out that makes for interesting podcast talk. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. First, I do want to cover, like I usually do, some tournaments that are coming up. There is one major one coming up that is going to be of interest of you guys, and that is Little Squid League 14. It is going to be on August the 14th. I saw 8 teams that already signed up for it. Last time they had it, I think it was about 40 teams that signed up, the biggest Little Squid League ever. We expect that trend. We the media, would expect that trend to improve over the course of time as well. So hopefully more teams sign up for this one. Hopefully they get that. We at Low Ink are expecting a big boost of teams signing up next month for Low Ink because of the Nintendo tournaments. If what happened last weekend doesn't scare off everybody. But hopefully Little Squid League gets a big bump because of that as well, because that's where a lot of those teams need to be. A lot of those casual teams that you guys kind of beat up on in the Nintendo tournaments, they probably need to start out in Little Squid League and then transition into Low Ink after that. So hopefully Little Squid League gets a big bump of Nintendo tournament players in their next tournament. And we can all benefit from that. Today, obviously, we're going to be recapping Low Ink. Swiss, Gamma, Beta, Alpha, all that good stuff. We're also going to be talking about counter picks because that was a major story over the course of Sunday and deep into last night with all the feedback that we got that we asked for, and a lot of people gave some helpful feedback to that. So we'll talk about all that stuff. But first, I genuinely didn't think I would be talking this much about the Nintendo tournaments. Like, it's so absurd that every single week Nintendo finds a new way to just outdo itself with the level of ridiculousness that goes on in their tournament that we want to talk about. It's you know the scene in The Office where Stanley's just yelling at Michael, and he's just like, It's like every day you come in and do something so ridiculous that I think you can't possibly top it. And then you come in the next day and lo and behold, you do something even more ridiculous than that. And that's what we're seeing every single week. And that's why I'm super excited about this Turf War tournament next week now. But to be fair, the conversation for the last 2 weeks have been more so competitive community driven than driven by what happened in the actual tournament. Week 1, the Rainmaker one, the story was about the Splatfest tee. And now, granted, that was partially Nintendo's fault because it's a stupid rule they have in their rule book, but more so just the controversy that happened that a team almost lost some prize money because they wore a Splatfest t-shirt in one match. The conversation last week was just more so that Top Level finally realized that Speed Ladder doesn't work out to their advantage, even though it works out to everybody else's advantage. So that's where more of the conversation was coming from. Nothing particularly interesting happened in that Splat Zone tourney other than just people finally starting to realize, hey, wait a minute. Why are they doing Speed Ladder? As if there's some other better option to whittle down 100 gazillion teams in one day. This one, though, this tower control tournament, wow, this one got crazy really fast. Now, most of you in chat probably did not play in the tower control tournament because you were playing in low ink. I think I saw one team, I think OK Woomer might have played in both tournaments at the same time, which you could have done because of how the format changed. You probably could have gotten all those sets in if you realized what happened during the tower control one. But let me explain. So basically, there was a lot going on Battlefy on Saturday. Apparently, there was some other tournament that had 5,000 players in it on Battlefy that was running at the same time. I don't know what tournament it was, but you got to get the mindset of like that has to be like one of the top competitive games that we have, period, that would draw in that kind of level of players or that amount of players. I don't know, like League of Legends, I guess. Like I have no idea. Like think about the biggest Nintendo tournament that we have. I can't look. I probably could have looked this up, but even if it had 400 teams, and each team has 4 players on it, or let's be generous, let's say each team had 5 players on it. A 400-team Splatoon tournament would only have 2,000 players. So some other tournament had 5,000 players for whatever game they had. I think that kind of broke a good chunk of the split. I think that broke a good chunk of Battlefy to some extent. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. But for whatever reason, Battlefy had a huge brain fart. And if you played in the ladder tournament, when you entered one game, it automatically ended the set. It said you won the set 1-0, even though it was best of 3 sets that you were playing in. Now, if you were paying attention and you played in last week's SOS, this same kind of issue happened during the group stage. Like starting in round 2 or 3 or something like that, if you if you just reported game 1, it automatically gave you the dub for the entire set. Now, with the group stage, it's not an easy fix. It's something that can be fixed, though. It is fixable, right? Because if you were to go in and as a TO, if you were to go in and just kind of be like, hey, who won this set? What was the actual score? They can go in and fix it. Okay, 2-1 this team or 3-0 or whatever. And they had to do that because you can't just tell teams, well, wait till the end to report your score, because if a lot of teams, if you will report scores as they go, and if you win game 1 but you lost game 2 and 3, it's still going to show you winning the whole set, even though you technically lost it 2-1. So they had to go back in and fix all of that manually, which is why SOS was a lot slower last week than what it typically is, and why all these people were constantly saying, well, this is why we need to go to double elimination. Like, no, it's not. Because Battlefy had a brain fart doesn't mean SOS needs to change this whole format. The problem with Speed Ladder, though, is it's doggone near unfixable when it automatically ends the game after the first game, right? So you basically go in and you have it's a best of 3 set, and if you can't determine, if you report the score after the first game, it's not like you can just flag the match, have a moderator come in and be like, oh, well, we actually just won 2-1. No, because as soon as you report that, the button shows up for you to go to your next match. And if you win, you can just hit that button and go to another match and just say, bye, y'all never see you again. And they're just gone. And it can't be fixed. And now, it probably could be fixed, but the problem is when you're playing like thousands of, like over 1,000 matches probably in this tournament, there's no way all the TOs can fix all of those match disputes. Every single thing would need to be fixed, and it can't be done. And you're gonna go in as a TO into a match and be like, hey, who actually won this one? And the team that lost is going to be there trying to explain it. And the team that won, they're probably 2 or 3 matches gone at that point on like some other, like they just keep searching and just keep finding new teams and they're gone. So like you can't fix that. So let's put on our thinking caps here. Another class from the JPEG School of Tournament Organizing, and let's figure out how would you handle that situation of Battlefy breaking on you. There's 3 scenarios here. A, you cancel the tournament. 2, try to go back and manually fix over 1,000 matches by hand. Or D, just make everything in best of 1. If you said D, make everything a best of 1, congratulations. You made the correct choice that helps benefit, that's the best option for everyone available. Also keep in mind, people are going to blame you for, no, not A, can't cancel the tournament. There's chairs, people are playing for chairs here, but we got to get this one in. But keep in mind, because you're the TO for this, and Battlefy is you don't run Battlefy, but since you're the TO for this, everyone's going to go on Twitter and make fun of you, and it's all your fault, and you are the idiot. Welcome to TOing. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? But yeah, they just had to let this go to best of 1, and man, that sucks. I mean, that really sucks. It's the only option they could go with, but man, no, it's understandable that people were frustrated about this. Like, nobody wants to play in best of 1 sets. Destiny Troops didn't play in it, and I'm glad we did it now. I could just think here, like, how does that work? For those of you that played in the Tower Control tournament, I'm assuming what you happen is you hit the search match button, you find the match, and by the way, the matches were random. Like the game, the map was random. Before it was like Team A picked the map, but if it's best of 1, you can't just have one team pick what the ultimate map is. So it was random. So like you could end up playing a rival team of yours on some Kelp Dome Tower Control map, winner take all. Like nobody wants to do that, understandably. And you're going to spend more time setting up the matches than you are actually going to be playing in the match. Because think about it. You play a new team. Hello. What's your friend? You got to exchange your friend code. You got to get the PB lobby up. LOL, my fourth is still in solo queue. They'll be here in 7 minutes. Like all that nonsense. And then you actually get in the lobby, and then it's a 30-second KO, and you're just like, bye, and you got to do that process all over again. Like most of your tournament is going to be spent staring at the screen on Battlefy than it is actually playing the games. And so when people were just going off on Twitter, like, of course they were. Nobody wants to play in that scenario. But again, the only other alternative is cancel the tournament, because it's not like the TOs can just go in and with a hammer and just like fix Battlefy like that. Like that's not the issue. And it's interesting because this is I believe there were some Battlefy admins that helped ran this tournament. So this was something they couldn't even fix on the fly. And it was an issue. Again, on Wednesday, it was the issue, the same kind of issue. But now that it happened for SOS, but now that it happened for Nintendo's tournament, now it's like, oh, okay, maybe we should have fixed this before. Or maybe it's just something that can't be fixed. I don't know. I'm the last person that needs to be talking about programming or anything like that. Now, my opinion, the TOs deserve an Emmy for their performance over this over that tournament. Just getting it done and getting it in is impressive in its own right. Does it now? If the Turf War tournament is like this, that there's no way. I mean, first off, I don't think a lot of people are going to sign up for the Turf War one, just because of the mode that it is. But yeah, if it was best of one Turf War, basically like the entire set coming down to 30 seconds, like there's no way that would fly. Unless you're one of those teams that wants to try to sneak in and get one of those gaming chairs. There's no weekend recap this week, so I'll just kind of read off. Arctic Moon won grand prize, going 21-4. Climb got first prize, Saunders second, and Pulse got also second. Wait, did two teams get second prize? Sonder went 19-6. Pulse went 21-9. I guess they tied somehow with that kind of standing. I don't know. They both okay. Interestingly enough, these are technically matches results here. So technically, Pulse played 30 matches in one day. But with Popgun, they're best in one. Yeah, I get that. But technically, 30 matches in one day. Low Inc., you play 6 matches on Saturday. Pulse played basically 5 Low Inc. Saturdays in the span of 4 hours. What if Low Inc. was best of one? We'd speed that up. There'd be no time complaints. Popgun, EU needs to go to bed. Okay, everything's best of one from here on out. Random maps. Good luck. Have fun. And enjoy all that. So there you go. Turf War Tower Control Tournament. Man, what's going to happen during Turf War now? Like something is going to happen. I am planning on not doing a podcast next week because I'm going to be on vacation. But if something happens in the Turf War tournament that is so unbelievable, which at this point you should probably expect it to happen, maybe I'll come back from vacation early and do an episode about it. But man, these Nintendo tournaments have been just nothing but content that we can just talk about for days on end, and it is amazing. Hats off, Nintendo. You have captivated the competitive scene yet again. You will not take over the Popcast, Haya. I can't afford for people to unsubscribe. Moving right along, transitioning from that tournament to the tournament that you all probably more likely played, the Hayacast. Low Inc. Now, I always say that I start my Low Inc. recap episodes by issuing apologies if I feel like I screwed up on something in the preview that I did. Yet again, another team wins Low Inc. that I don't mention at all in the preview. But who among you actually thought Hero Fan Club was going to win this tournament? Don't want to hear it. Of course, all of you are going to say now, oh yeah, of course, Hero Fan Club being my top 10. Who would have thought of that? Now, they were one of the later teams to sign up. I don't know if they signed up by the time of the preview or not. And that was kind of an issue. A lot of teams played in Low Inc. that signed up late. Like a lot of monster teams played in Low Inc. that signed up late. Fallen Inc., Syntopia, the Fukatsu Angels, Game Over. All those teams signed up very late, like either late Thursday night or Friday morning. And those are just the teams that we let in. A lot of teams signed up Friday that had like maybe questionable results and maybe are fine for low ink. We couldn't really tell. The problem is, I tell you guys, sign up early because it's going to help you out more than anything. The teams that waited to the last minute to sign up, if you don't give us enough time to verify you and you have questionable results, we're not going to stay up all night playing detective trying to determine if you're good enough or not. We're just going to be like, hey, you didn't give us enough time. Try again next month. And that happened to a lot of people. And now some people were still allowed in, and I'm not naming who or what specifically, but it's like, sign up earlier, guys. It's always mind-boggling to me how people will come into help desk after registration closed and be like, well, can you let my team in? And it's like, you had 23 days to register for this tournament. Why do you need 23 days and 10 minutes to sign up for this tournament? And if we don't let those guys in, because where does it stop? Oh, well, registration closed, but we're going to let you in. And then someone else comes, well, can you let me in? And we're like, well, no, because we just wanted to let that other team in. No, it's a cutoff at a certain time, and it needs to stay that way. But still, I can't believe how many teams wait until Friday to register. And a lot of those teams got punished for it because they just, like, if there's any hint of susness to it, you're not giving us enough time to fully investigate it. Regardless, a lot of teams did sign up that were still allowed in, that I just kind of read off there. Do you remember that Fugatsu Angels did play in this tournament? I mean, they were a team that was very close to winning it last month, and they signed up very late and were allowed in. And they went 3-3. Surprisingly, went 3-3 in Gamma. Now, I do want to point out something. They dropped because they didn't make Alpha bracket. I think they technically they would have qualified for Beta. They went 3-3 in Swiss, but their opponent win percentage was crazy high. Like, it was like 72% opponent win percentage. Like, they got fed a unbelievably difficult schedule in Swiss. Now, to your credit, if you want to, they got fed like a Sunday schedule on a Saturday. But to the Angels' credit, if you want to win low ink, those are the type of teams you need to beat anyways. Is it unfair that they got fed all those teams at once? Probably. I don't know. But just because the Angels went 3-3 doesn't mean we shouldn't see them as a monster team to possibly win low ink next month anyways. It just didn't bounce their way. But yeah, I think we kind of forget about the Angels, but they did play in this tournament. And if they had signed up early, I would have put them really high on my top 10. Probably number 2, probably number 1 again. Who knows? For my actual top 10, all right. I almost got serious right, though. I always said I'm very scared about putting teams that finish in second place on my number 1 list of teams who are going to win, but I was kind of right. I mean, they did dominate up until they had to come up against Hero Fan Club, who just had to answer for every single counter pick that Sirius threw out at them. And Sirius taking second place again. We'll talk about that more later. For the rest of the teams in my top 10, 2 of them dropped, 5 made Alpha, 2 made Beta. That's 9 teams. I'm missing somebody. I wrote it down last night. I think 3 might have dropped, actually. No, Dark Rain. Dark Rain made Beta, so that's 3. So 5 made Alpha, 3 made Beta. That's fine. Do I owe anybody an apology? Maybe. Booyah X did really good. I said they were an honorable mention team. They did really good on Saturday and probably deserve a little bit more praise. Obviously, Hero Fan Club. Do I owe them an apology? I mean, I didn't put them in. If they were to go in a time capsule, I probably wouldn't put them in. But they sit here and they win this tournament, and they won it in dominant fashion. Who is Hero Fan Club? Well, I found out that it's basically based off of another video game that's an RPG that Haya is going to gift me so that I can play on stream at some point. Is it a pickup team? Is it a project? Is it an actual team now? Well, if you go by the fact that they have a Twitter that they threw up before the start, literally before the start of the tournament, I guess it is an actual team. I said they were the first pickup team to win low ink. Who knows? Like, how you guys define what a team is and isn't maybe is up for debate. In my opinion, though, from if this is an actual team in their first tournament, it looked like a pickup team from the players that were on it. So where do these players come from? First, you got Pan Pan, a former Tooniverse member who actually, this is crazy. Pan Pan was playing in Little Squid League back in March, playing for No Diving. I think just kind of subbing for No Diving. I don't know if they were on the actual roster or not. But how you go from being a Little Squid League team back in March to winning Low Ink in July. That's a great success story right there. Rain, who I believe was Bomb Clot, comes from 3 a.m., which is interesting. That adds a nice little dynamic there of playing against Sirius, because Sirius has been known as to be the reincarnation of 3 a.m. But you have Rain here, who used to be on 3 a.m., now on Hero Fan Club, playing against the reincarnation of 3 a.m. in grand finals and beating them. I wonder if that was a dynamic that we didn't really catch yesterday, but now looking back over the rosters, there's a little bit of interesting things right there. Uni played for No Bull Squid in a Minnow Cup and a bunch of other teams and some other tournaments going along there, but most notably in low-level tournaments, No Bull Squid Minnow Cup. And RJ is from that Glistening Waters team, one of those teams that I put in my top 10, actually. I believe I put them at like number 4 because they popped off in an SOS tournament. And then Glistening Waters disbanded, or not disbanded, but like dropped, I guess, or whatever. We didn't see them play in Low Ink. So here they are in this team, in helping this team win. There was Texture was also on the roster, but I don't think Texture actually played in the tournament. Texture, another former Tooniverse player, making up this team. So that's why when I looked at this, I was like, this is a pickup. But now after you do this, and they have an official Twitter, so that makes them an actual official team here. How did this team win Low Ink? I mean, I guess we'll be talking about that a little bit more later when we get to the Sunday stuff. But you can't. My first thought was, well, the new counter pick system really benefited and worked into their advantage, but it didn't. If anything, it made this tournament way more difficult for them to win. And I say that because over the course of Sunday, they only made 4 counter picks. That's it. They only got to counterpick 4 times, and they won 3 of them and lost the other one. The vast majority of the games they played in this tournament were the best maps and modes that the other team they were playing against had. So this tournament was more difficult for them to win. It wasn't easier because of the counter picks. It was harder. And they took everybody's best, literally the best possible scenario for the other team was thrown at them, and they countered every single one of them to extent. Well, not every single one, but they won the vast majority of the counter picks that were thrown their way. That is impressive. So no, I was thinking, oh, the counter picks helped them. No, it didn't. It just made it that more impressive that they were able to get the win. Speaking of counter picks, we asked for a lot of feedback from this. It was the first time. It was kind of like the test run for us to see how this would actually go. And we wanted people's feedback. And we still want people's feedback. If you have feedback to give about the counterpick system, if you want to go on Twitter and talk about it, fine. Don't expect TOs to actually read it or care about it, because we know that you're not giving that feedback with the intent of trying to make the tournament better. You're doing it just to try to get likes and retweets and clout and all that stuff. So we don't really care about that. But if you want to go to the actual Low Ink feedback channel in the IPL server and leave some feedback, that would be much appreciated. Whether you liked it or loved it or whatever. Either way. I'm not... Now, this is the Popcast. Yes, I am a head TO for Low Ink, but this isn't meant to be like a breaking news. Here's what's going to happen for Low Ink in the future. I'm here speaking my own thoughts on the tournament, not anything representing IPL or anything like that. But it wouldn't make sense for me to come out here and be like, here's what I would like to see changed and here's what I wouldn't like to see changed or all that stuff, because we are going to look at the feedback as a staff and kind of come to our own decisions of what needs to be tweaked, if anything needs to be tweaked or something like that. So I'm not going to just sit here and spew off my thoughts on what the counterpick thing was. I will say this, though. The matches we had on stream were insane. They were really insane, and they were awesome to see. The feedback that people did give, people were kind of saying, well, it was mixed. Some liked it and some didn't. No, it looks like the vast majority, like 80 to 90% of the people that either left a reaction in the announcements or commented in the feedback liked the counterpicks. Like there's only a couple of people that didn't like it, but the vast majority appear to have either liked it or love it. Now, it's interesting. The teams that did really well in Alpha Bracket, of course, they were like, yeah, this is awesome. We loved counter picks. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, probably, yeah, if the system helped me win a tournament or do really well in a tournament, I'd probably like it too. Understandable. The people who didn't do super well on Sunday has some important feedback to give on that as well. So I don't know what I mean, like I said, we'll obviously kind of look at that and then make some like tweaks as necessary. I will say this though, I don't really know how it went yet across the board. We're keeping our eyes on Sunday. We're keeping an eye on two things. We're keeping an eye on help desk in case somebody comes in and be like, hey, how does this work? Which not a lot of people were. I was expecting more people to come into help desk and try to explain or try to like ask for clarification on things. We only had like a handful of questions that were easy to answer in help desk on Sunday. The other thing we're paying attention to is the stream, because the main thing we're focusing on is getting this sucker done. I watched Little Squid League and it seemed like the counter picks took a long time to get in. And so we were kind of worried about that. So we came in and we're just like, hey, get your picks in. So we wanted to make sure the stream was as quick as possible so that we could get the tournament done, because we knew the stream was going to slow down everything. So we're focusing on the stream. And if those of you that played in matches that I was watching your like Battlefy chat, I might have been a little pushy. Sorry, but we need to get those picks in. Like some teams were really quick. Like, here's the map we want. And the other teams were just like sitting on their butts for 4 minutes. And it's like, no, come on. We can't do this after every single game. You need to get a pick in. We need to get going here. And why the reason I'm pointing out that we only paid attention to stream, there's a bunch of other matches in alpha that we didn't pay attention to. Nothing in beta, nothing in gamma. So there's a good chunk of data out there the staff didn't see how it actually went in practice, right? And I can tell you this, the matches that we had on stream, there were 5 times somebody made an illegal counterpick. 5 times, just the stream matches alone. Now, that's it's fine because we're paying attention to it, and we can instantly be like, no, you already won on that. In one team, I think it was one of the teams that I commentated because I was like reading the Battlefy chat while commentating. One team picked like an illegal map and then followed that up with another illegal map immediately. And it's like, come on, guys, how could you? Now, I understand heat of the moment. You're playing a lot of sets. Did we win on splat zones already in this set, or was that the last set? I understand that. But that gets you to the if the stream had 5 issues that we were able to fix, how many issues were in beta and gamma and the other alpha bracket matches that we didn't fix, that either the other team caught that was an illegal map, or they didn't and didn't realize it, or they just played it all the way out. So who knows like how it actually went in the other matches. So there's still some data that we as a staff need to look at and try to collect to figure out how the scope of the entire tournament happened, not just in alpha bracket. But I just wanted to point that out, that I knew like people were going to try to cheat, not purposely try to cheat, but just like unintentionally make illegal picks. And with the amount of time I saw it happen just in the stream matches alone, it was like, okay, multiply this by like 3, and that's how much it probably happened across the entire tournament. Regardless, most people like the counter picks. It seemed like, again, staff is going to look at it and try to make it better. The goal of Low Inc. with anything that we do is the mission statement is to help prepare teams for the next step. And if we want to make sure that the practices that we put into place reflect that kind of mission statement. So that is the ultimate goal for us at IPL. That being said, let's start talking about some of the matches that happen over the course of the weekend, starting with Saturday. Riley caught the people making illegal. I like that. Police yourselves. You pretty much had to. If you're in Gamma or Beta, you pretty much had to police yourself. Let's talk about some matches of note that took place on Saturday in the Swiss stage. First off, the Fugatsu Angels got a 3-0 sweep over the Shiver Me Inklings. This is I'm pointing this out because this is a grudge match from round 1 of last month, where the Pirates played the Fugatsu Angels and beat them 2-1. What are the odds that you are getting fed the same exact team in round 1 that you played in round 1 of last month? I don't know. The odds of that seem extremely, extremely low. But it happened here. That's the beauty of Swiss, that these two alpha bracket contenders are playing in round 1 every single time they play. This time, though, the Angels get the revenge on the Pirates, beating them 3-0. This sounds like a baseball game. The Angels versus the Pirates here. Unlimited Woomy United got a 2-1 win over Myopsidus, which, as you look and see what Myopsidus did in alpha bracket on Sunday, which we will get to, makes this 2-1 win by Uwu that much more impressive. Initially, that's something you look at and you're not that impressed by it. Like, okay, yeah, you look at what Myopsidus used to be, which used to be a 2-4 team last time they played in Low Inc. And Uwu, who won Gamma Bracket, you're like, of course, Uwu's supposed to beat that team. But then you see what Myopsidus did, basically getting a lot of dominant wins in Alpha Bracket. That makes this Uwu win, it kind of makes you say, Uwu, wow. Inkcraft Colt got a 2-1 win over Clownfish. Two old EU teams meeting in a close match here. This one kind of going into the favor of the Colt. Clownfish being a team that has made Gamma. I feel like they've made a beta bracket before. It's been a while since we've seen them kind of up to that caliber of level. But Inkcraft Colt, this is a good win for them. And a win against a team I'm pretty sure they're pretty familiar with, considering how old these two teams are. The Sweepy Shields got a 3-0 win over Snowfall. Again, this is another one of those things when it's more impressive when you look at it. It's not as impressive when you look at it on Saturday, but when you see what the teams do on Sunday, it's like, oh, wow, this is a really good win now. The 3-0 sweep over Snowfall, the team that ended up winning Gamma Bracket, and Sleepy the Sweepy Shields being a team that went 2-4 at one point in Low Inc., having a really good month here, highlighted by this 3-0 sweep over the Snowfall team. Dimension got a 2-1 win over Not So Ultimate Hopstaker. Even though their name is Not So Ultimate Hopstaker, it seems like it is pretty much, for the most part, Ultimate Hopstaker, the team that made Alpha Bracket barely as the number 16 seed last month. But as the number 16 seed, they did upset Shiver Me Inklings, knocking the Pirates down to the losers bracket pretty early last month. Coming in here and taking on a Dimension, a new team. This is a quality win for this new Dimension team that ended up making beta bracket. So Dimension 2-1 over not so ultimate Hopstaker. Heaven's Moonlight. I kind of highlighted this team in the preview. I said this is a good team that needed to be playing in low inks, and they had a really good low ink for them this month, or this past weekend. Starting off with a 3-0 sweep over No Bull Squid. No Bull Squid is a team that starting to play in some more low inks themselves, kind of in the same position of Heaven Moonlight, even though No Bull Squid has been around a little bit longer. Starting to finally start playing in some tournaments, and they're starting to get a little bit better in these tournaments as well. Getting a win over the Wiggly Phantoms, which I found out because of the video the Wiggly Phantoms made. But Heaven's Moonlight getting a sweep over this team, very good for them and a nice step in the right direction for them as well. Tooniverse got a 2-1 win over Team Renegade. Team Renegade made beta last month, and Tooniverse kind of floating around between Gamma and beta. And this was essentially a play-in game. Winner goes on to alpha and loser goes down to beta. And Tooniverse got the win 2-1. Clutched it out when they needed to. This bumped up Tooniverse into alpha bracket. A team we're going to be now calling going forward Peer Pressure, as they have finally announced their rebranding and a new logo. Booyah X got a 2-1 win over the Ink Illuminatis. And this was a statement Saturday for Booyah X, which proves that their result in April was not a fluke. In fact, they've improved off of their surprising result back in April. And getting a 2-1 win over Ink Illuminatis, a statement win for a statement Saturday, against a quality opponent for Booyah X. The Bamboo Dragons got a 2-1 win over Mellow. Now, Mellow is a team that made beta bracket as an LSL top cut team from LSL 13. So the Bamboo Dragons, who are desperate for a quality win, get one here in this 2-1 win over Mellow. So nice work for Bamboo Dragons. Still kind of on the climb to trying to improve themselves, but if you're Bamboo Dragons, you're looking at this win against Mellow and you're saying, okay, this is something we can build off of, because that's a nice quality win for them. Nightshade got a 2-1 win over the Inked Craft Cult. Excuse me. This is Nightshade X now, getting the win over the Inkcraft Cult 2-1. A close win that was enough to propel Nightshade X into Gamma bracket, where they did a lot of damage on Sunday. So getting this win here against Inkcraft Cult helped propel them to the greatness that they kind of showed on Sunday that we'll be getting to. The best win, the most what in the world win from Saturday goes out to Overlook, who got a 3-0 sweep over Rising Hope 2. Wow. Okay. When I first saw that result, I thought I went and looked in the Battlefied chat, because it seemed like, okay, maybe somebody DC'd, maybe there's just some funky issue, maybe they didn't join the lobby in time or something like that. I don't know. But it looked in it and there was nothing else. There was just, hey, here's the friend code, and then after 25 minutes or so, GG's across the board. It's like, wow, okay. It's impressive because Overlook, and I'm not trying to throw shade at them, but this is the only win they got. They didn't have that good of a Saturday, but they beat a traditional beta/alpha bracket team and swept them straight up. Overlooked. Wow. This Overlook being the team that one of those teams that tied in that little Squid League and just kind of got shuffled around. We were saying we were going to keep an eye on them. This is an impressive win for anybody to get over Rising Hope. And Overlook, this is a really fantastic win for them. Rising Hope in their own right. Sorry, I'm not trying to point out a bad loss for you guys. Rising Hope had a good job. They made beta bracket. They went 4-2. They had a good tournament in their own right. But that is a heck of a win for Overlook, and I definitely had to point that out for them. Winners from the Swiss stage. Getting it out of the way at the beginning here, we got to go with the only team that ended up going undefeated in this tournament, and that is Game Over. The undefeated Swiss team from Group A. And typically, when you go undefeated, you always say, well, maybe they didn't play the strongest teams. I think they had the toughest schedule in the entire tournament. Here's who they beat. Hero Fan Club, the only team to beat Hero Fan Club the entire weekend. The Fugatsu Angels, Ink Eye, Fallen Ink, New Rave. All these teams either made Alpha Bracket this month or the Fugatsu Angels, who are a team that is capable of winning any tournament that they play. Game over. Wow. Their opponent win percentage was 66%. I think that's just because the Angels didn't do that well. That kind of tanked their result. But they played They played a Sunday schedule on Saturday and dominated. Okay, game over. A team we need to be paying attention to going forward. Super strong team there. You know, we like teams who have high opponent win percentage, and I talked about the Angels had the highest opponent win percentage at 72%, but they dropped because they didn't make Alpha, and it's understandable. They want to try to win this tournament. They don't want to have to waste time in beta. So here they come. The team that actually had the highest opponent win percentage that didn't drop from the tournament goes out to Ink Luminatis at 69.4%. Key wins coming from Sekiznaga, OK Woomer, and Broken Controller Gaming. Ink Luminatis, we're obviously going to be talking more about them because they finished in third place in this whole tournament. But had the toughest on paper, calculated toughest schedule, and still went 5-1 with that. Fire Aura went 4-2 in this tournament with key wins against Rising Tide and Legato, a new team of some former Last Ditch Effort players. If you remember the Last Ditch Effort team that was bumping around Gamma and Beta, rebranded as a new team here, or at least some of those players rebranded as a new team, Fire Aura here, and in their first low ink makes Alpha Bracket. Nicely done, Fire Aura. Heaven's Moonlight went 3-3 here with key wins against Noble Squid, Ink in the System, and the IRS. They took on the Eternal Revenue service and ended up beating them. This team, Heaven's Moonlight, went 2-4 last month, turned it around to go 3-3 this month in their second low ink, qualifying for their first Gamma bracket. So nice step in the right direction there for Heaven's Moonlight on Saturday. Booyah X, we talked about them getting a win over the Ink Luminatis, but they also beat Dark Rain and Tooniverse, going 5-1 on Saturday, getting their second straight trip to Alpha Bracket. I said April was really surprising when they went 4-2 and they qualified for Alpha Bracket. The first Div 6 team to do so was really impressive. Now they're coming back in. We haven't seen them in a couple of months. They're back again, and they go 5-1 and qualify for Alpha yet again. Booyah X is legit. I didn't expect this to happen, but they are demanding our attention and our respect, and they're going to get it. Vaporwave, another step in the right direction for them, going 4-2 with key wins over Royal Court and Radical Dreamers. Vaporwave went 3-3 last month, and they made Beta Bracket last month, but barely. They were the number 16 seed. This time around, going 4-2, outright qualifying for Beta Bracket, comfortably at the 10th place in their group, which means they were only 2 spots away from making Alpha Bracket. But making Beta, it seems like where Vaporwave team is at, but another team that is constantly improving month after month after month. I believe I'm pronouncing this correctly. Sentinels went 4-2 in their first low ink, which is a new team made up of veteran low ink players. Key wins against Dimension, Uwu, and Riptide, playing in their first low ink and making Alpha Bracket. That is Sentinels with a C, or Sentinels, I guess, if I were to try to read that just straight up with the poor reading skills that I already have. Yeah, I feel like if this team sticks around and they play more, then we'll start to figure out how to correctly pronounce their name, because it might be a team I'll be commentating at some point in the future. Noble Squid, another one of these teams that went 2-4 last month to bump up to 3-3 this month. Key wins over the Wiggly Phantoms and up the ante, qualifying for their first Gamma bracket. You probably played no Bull Squid over the past 2 years in League. And I'm glad that they're finally starting to play in tournaments now, and they're doing pretty well. Finally getting into Gamma bracket here this month. Mellow went 3-3, qualifying for their first beta brackets with key wins over Inkerswim, No Bull Squid, and Snowfall. A 55.6 opponent win percentage for this team that went 3-3. Enough to put this LSL top cut team into a beta bracket spot. So congratulations to Mellow, having a nice month all around. Be interesting to see where they end up on the low level ranking list whenever that comes out for the month of July, because they did decently well in a couple of tournaments here. Fallen Inc. went 5-1 with key wins against the Sentinels, Shiver Me Inklings, Tinta Shrimp Cocktails, and Kappa. Their opponent win percentage 63.8%. Every time Fallen Inc. plays in a tournament, they make alpha bracket or the top cut version of that tournament. Every single time. Skill cap tournaments. I don't know if they played any open tournaments. I don't know how they did in those. But Minnow Cup, Low Ink, the most consistent team we've seen in those tournaments that they play in. Love seeing Fallen Ink play. I hope they play in more tournaments. They took last month off. The more we see of Fallen Ink, the more I like. Ink Eye got a 4-2 win. Or 4-2 result again. With key wins coming against, they played the Tinta Shrimp Cocktails, the Tinta Shrimp Tacos, and Incognito, getting wins against all those teams. Opponent win percentage works in their favor to get them into alpha bracket. Ink Eye being a consistent 4-2 team, they are spending time in both beta and gamma, because they're always getting 4-2, and sometimes 4-2 kind of shifts you all over the place. This time it works enough to their favor to make alpha. You like being consistently 4-2. If you're 4-2, you're doing something right. Will they eventually get to 5-1? I'm sure that's the goal, but constantly being 4-2, you got to be feeling good about that, especially with where this Ink Eye team was at the beginning of the year and where they're growing over the course. Novice Clams went 3-3 in this tournament, and opponent win percentage working out barely enough into their favor to where they qualified for beta bracket as well. That's a good result for a Novice Clam team. I feel like we've seen them in LSLs in the past, and finishing number 16, barely number 16 in their group here, is something they should be proud of as well. The best winner from the entirety of Saturday, my number one winner, goes out to the Sweeping Shields, the best team name in this tournament. Goes 4-2 with key wins against Snowfall and Ink Alliance, and a close 1-2 loss to Sirius. That's impressive. Why are they the biggest winner? Because the last time we saw the Sweepy Shields play in Low Ink was in March, and they went 2-4. Yikes. But now, coming back a couple of months later with a revamped roster from what we could see, going that 2-4 and switching it to 4-2 and making beta bracket. Attaboy, Sweepy Seals, we see you. And that concludes Saturday. So let's get to the spicy stuff. Yes, I know. I would assume Mellow is your favorite melatonin. You're my favorite sleep aid. Whew. All right. Let's switch to the screen boy here. So we're going to be looking at gamma, beta, alpha, and call it a day. If that sounds good to you guys. Looking at Gamma to start off with on Sunday. A couple of matches of note that I wanted to point out here. First off, the winner bracket. Not a lot of, well, actually, there were a lot of 3-2 matchups here. You didn't see a lot of 3-2 matchups in Alpha Bracket, except for the ones that were on stream. But for a good chunk of these matches were pretty competitive. Now, Gamma Bracket was the last one to finish up on Sunday and took a long time. It was like 5.5 hours. I don't know what slowed down Gamma Bracket, but we need to trim some time off of there somewhere. We can't. I'm not happy that any of the brackets lasted that long. I mean, of course, it went to a reset, but still, 5.5 hours for a tournament is that's not fun. The few matches I do want to talk about in depth here: Snowfall versus Royal Court. As you can see, Snowfall won it and ended up winning the whole tournament. This is one of those few times. Usually, when a team wins like this in the winners bracket, and then they get bracket reset by the same team that they beat earlier, that team, Royal Court in this scenario, usually goes on to win the whole tournament. This time, Snowfall was able to kind of stop the bleeding and turn things back around and win the bracket. So this win right here is just, this win right here isn't new to us, but the win that they got in this back one is kind of interesting just because of the trends we usually have in low link. The other match I want to talk about here is this Heaven Moonlight versus Rising Tide matchup. And the reason I'm talking about this is because it's a rematch. As I was looking over this tournament, Rising Tide actually beat Heaven's Moonlight in the Switch stage. But this is completely different. They play game one in Splat Zones at Anchovy, and then they do a couple of counter picks. Now, winning in the counter pick scenario, winning game one is so huge. Winning game one is immensely huge because it basically gives you home field advantage. All you got to do is win on your counter picks and it's over. So I don't know who win game one here, but I would assume it'd be Heaven's Moonlight. And basically they could go to a game three that they got to decide. And when you play a team earlier on Saturday, you kind of get a sense for like, okay, what if we were to play these guys again, what map would be good to go up against them? In Heaven's Moonlight, whatever counter pick they used obviously worked to get them some revenge against Rising Tide here. Some of the winners from Gamma Stage. First off, we got to go with the Tinta Shrimp tacos. First off, they had a brutal Sunday. Every match they played in went to a final game. They got the win here against Nightshade 3-2, got a nice win against Legato 3-2, and then went up against Royal Court, almost getting it done there, falling 2-3, and then in a loser's bracket, going up against Nightshade X in a rematch. Nightshade X using I think they kind of left some feedback in the channel that they were kind of mentally exhausted from the counter picks. Whatever counter picks they used here, learning from their loss to Tinta Shrimp Tacos and winners, worked out to their advantage. But still, Tinta Shrimp Tacos, this is a good result for them. A very long, I mean, they only played in 4 matches, but they played 18 games in those 4 matches. That's a long Saturday for them. Maybe that's what dragged these things down. Another winner from the group stage, we got to go with Legato here, who ended up in 3rd place. And Legato doing a really good job, getting 1 win, sweeping Irida 3-0, then barely losing to the Tacos, and then going on a deep losers run. You guys like it. You guys know I love it when teams go in runs and losers. 2-0 Bull Squid, 2-1 Heaven's Moonlight, 2-1 against Uwu, who won Gamma Bracket last month. 2-1 Nightshade, and then ultimately falling to Royal Court here. But Legato with a statement run on Sunday with how well they played in Gamma Bracket. Last team I got to give a winner role here, definitely got to be Nightshade X, because they lost in round 1 and then started to tear butt through here. 2-1 Irida, 2-1 Riptide, 2-1 Tidal Abyss, 2-1 Tacos, and before losing 1-2 to Elgato. So you start to see, Lumina, I understand now when you leave the feedback of your guys being kind of mentally drained from all the counter picks. They played in all these do or die games as well. No sweeps. They played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches that went the distance. Yes, I can see why they left the feedback that they did of counter picks being kind of mentally draining. They had a rough Sunday as well, but still performed really well, taking 4th place in Gamma Bracket. Grand finals of this tournament, of this bracket, I kind of talked about. Snowfall, Royal Court coming back and taking a set away from Snowfall, and then Snowfall eventually getting the job done, winning this tournament. So what does this mean for both teams going forward? For Royal Court, the last time these guys played in Low Ink, I believe was May, where they made beta bracket, or at least the last time that they played in Low Ink was beta bracket. I can't remember if it was May or not. So, but they didn't get any wins when they played in beta bracket. Now they fall down to gamma bracket, and this is where they start to tear some butt here. 3-0 Night Logic, 3-2 Heaven's Moonlight, 3-2 the Tacos. It barely falling into what a very tight set with Snowfall here, but sweeping Legato as well. So Royal Court, even though they didn't win, this is a really good Sunday for them and a strong result. Kind of showing, would you rather fall down to gamma and play really well, or would you rather say that you qualified for beta even if you don't do particularly well in beta? I think it's more fun to do good in a set like what Royal Court did here. But Snowfall obviously gets the credit for winning gamma brackets all the way through here. Sweeping Cracked, 3-1 Riptide, 3-0 over the team that won gamma bracket last month, Uwu, and then surviving ultimately against Royal Court here. Snowfall being a new team, playing it in their first Low Ink together. And I think I like Snowfall as a team name. There's a lot of really bad team names in these tournaments, or new teams come up with bad team names. Snowfall, I think, works. I like Snowfall. And obviously a nice result here, winning in gamma bracket. So congratulations to them. What are the expectations for them going forward? I don't know. Obviously, we've seen teams win gamma bracket, and then the next month they're in gamma bracket again. The only way to guarantee, or the best way to guarantee, is to get those 4 wins on Saturday, which is extremely difficult to do. Let's move on to beta. The matches I want to talk about here. First off, Broken Controller Gaming taking on Radioactive in this first round. Broken Controller Gaming being the team that everybody and their mom wants to defeat. Radioactive being a team that plays in SOS recently, I feel like, but didn't play in, hasn't played in Low Ink in a while. Coming back into this one, almost getting the win against Broken Controller Gaming. Again, counterpicks is kind of working. This is where I want to see counterpicks, like the data from these kind of sets, where it's just really close and what kind of happened. Now I can, since we're admins in Battlefight, we can go in and look at the chats and kind of see what teams pick. But I'd be curious to see how this set goes, or like watch a VOD of this set, because it seemed like it was really close. Rising Hope 2 over the DivX Throwers. DivX Throwers finding themselves into beta bracket. DivX Throwers was a pickup team. I believe I saw Mark from CIA and some other players playing for this pickup team here, and they go up against a quality Rising Hope team who overcame that upset they had to overlook to do really well in this tournament here, or in this bracket here. And Rising Hope able to get that win in Game 5. So those were the 2 matches I want to point out in particular. But the winners from this bracket stage, first off, I got to go with Defiance, who started off losing to Rising Hope 3-2. And then Defiance went on a huge run here. 2-0 Novice Clams, 2-1 to Sweepy Seals, 2-1 Broken Controller Gaming, getting revenge against Rising Hope 2-0 to take 4th place, ultimately losing to the Pirates 2-0 there in the 4th place match. OK Woomer did really well in this tournament as well. 3-2 over Vaporwave. That's a quality loss for Vaporwave. 3-2 or 3-0 over the Tinta Shrimp Cocktails, not to be confused with the Tinta Shrimp Tacos. 3-1 Rising Hope, and then 3-2 over Dark Rain, going all the way to grand finals here in a result that I guess we kind of expected, kind of didn't really know what to expect from these guys. We'll talk more about them in a minute. But first, I do want to give a shout out to the Tinta Shrimp Cocktails, who got a 3-0 sweep over Team Renegade before losing to OK Rumor, and then got a couple more nice wins here in losers bracket. 2-0 Radioactive, 2-0 DivX Throwers, ultimately losing to the Pirates to 1. Dark Rain, I did want to get it point out. Shiver Me Inklings did kind of let me know. I think the result of this is because Dark Rain had to drop or something like that. Because Dark Rain did beat up on the Pirates 3-0. In the rematch here, I think this is more of a just a drop result. Not saying the Pirates can't beat Dark Rain, even though they got swept by them earlier. I think it's just more so of the somebody just kind of ran out of time there. And Dark Rain has won beta bracket before, which is great. Sometimes when you win beta bracket and you get stuck in it again when you want to be an alpha, sometimes you don't play it all the way through. Dark Rain did, to their credit, and did really well. But I think that they just ran out of time there. For grand finals, Shiver Me Inklings got the dominant win over OK Woomer. I mean, you talking about counter picks here. I think OK Woomer just couldn't find the right map. I mean, 8-2. That's a pretty one-sided match between those two teams, and counter picks definitely had to have been an issue there, where just whatever OK Woomer would have picked just didn't work out into their favor. What does this mean for both teams going forward? For OK Woomer, I think I put him at like number 3 or something on my list, or number 2. I put him really high on my top 10, and I think they kind of showed it here. You don't have to make alpha bracket every single month to be a team that is considered to win it. You can fall to beta without a high opponent win percentage, and then just tear up beta to kind of justify, like, hey, it's kind of like a redemption to some extent. Did they win it? No, but finishing in second place is still impressive for OK Woomer, and I still consider them a top 10 team maybe for next month. For Shiver Me Inklings, this is justification for them as well. They made alpha bracket last month after going 6-0 in Swiss, doing really well. Obviously didn't do super hot in alpha bracket, but turning it around next month, falling to beta, but then ripping up beta, getting a 3-0 over Mellow, 3-0 Broken Controller Gaming, falling to Dark Rain, surviving a lot of matches here in losers, 2-1 against the Cocktails, 2-0 Defiance, and then just turning on the gas against OK Woomer. Playing the best when you need to play the best is Shiver Me Inklings here. So a nice beta bracket win for the Pirates. Probably their best tournament result, even though they are still considered a favorite to win Low Inc next month in the months to come. So a good win there for the Pirates. Lastly, let's look at Alpha and then call it a day. And this is obviously this is where most of our attention was. And a lot of these matches were just fantastic. The ones that we had on stream were some of the most entertaining matches we've had ever in Low Inc. I don't know how much fun it was to play in them, but just watching them it was jaw-dropping. First, we got to go with this game over versus Sirius matchup that we saw, the second match on stream. I said winning game 1 is so insanely important. So insanely important because it basically gives you home field advantage throughout the entire set. Game over won game 1 here. Sirius had to come from behind, win their counter picks, and steal a win from one of game over's counter picks as well. Sirius ultimately, I believe this is the one that went to Splat Zones at Skipper Pavilion, which they picked it because they wanted to use foil squeezer with the bubbles, and the bubbles just worked out in their advantage in that game 6. Ultimately, the win going to Sirius there in this very hype set. I think they barely got that win as well. Syntopia versus Hero Fan Club. This was the closest Hero Fan Club came on Sunday to taking an L. It became very close. And this was an exciting set because Hero Fan Club got the first 2 wins seemingly in overtime. Had to hold on to it. The second win, Splat Zones at Shipyard, they basically robbed that one at the very end there. And then Syntopia, down 0-2, almost pulled off the reverse sweep with their counter picks. Going to the game 5, and oh my gosh, I can't believe they didn't get lead in that tower control game. We were in VC, and I was like, this is done. Hero Fan Club came out and cleared all 3 checkpoints at TC and Manta in their first push. I was like, this is done. And then Syntopia almost cleared them all over the course of the final game. And I swear they had more people alive than Hero Fan Club at the end of that final push, with the tower deep in Hero Fan Club side of the map, but just couldn't clear that checkpoint for whatever reason. Very hype set there. Last set I want to talk about, sticking with Syntopia, this Ink Luminati's matchup that they had against them. Ink Luminati's, this is where we found out how Ink Luminati's can kind of break the counterpick system. Winning game 1, Splat Zone Shipyard, losing on their counterpick, but being able to make that final counterpick is huge, as Ink Luminati's was able to bring in Frank, the hero of Low Ink this month, using Brush on Clam Blitz at Wahoo World, and just nobody had an answer for it. It was persistence. They basically played persistence style, the old persistence style of just having an annoying Brush player just run wild. And if you pay attention, and for my team playing persistence, it took us a while to figure out how to pay attention to it. But once you do, it's easy to shut down. But your first time seeing that kind of style of play and you're not used to it, all of a sudden you're trying to push, and then there's a Brush behind you with about 50 clams just having a party in your base. And Ink Luminati's just broke it. Ink Luminati's just broke it right there. And that's the only win they were able to get against Sirius as well. But also, it was good to see a Charger player for Ink Luminati's. You don't see a lot of Charger players at this stage in Low Ink, just because it's a difficult weapon to where the best Charger players have been doing it for like 4,000 or 5,000 hours at this point. It's not a weapon in the meta that we're in. It's hard to just pick up Charger and get good at it. You got to spend a lot of time practicing it. And Ink Luminati's had a really good Charger. Seemed to hit a lot of shots. It's just this team's realized, let's just throw 50 missiles at this guy. It kind of makes a little bit of a difference. And you can make counter picks that put the Charger in a bad situation, to where they were constantly had to go to Bamboo, which didn't seem to really work out in their favor. The winners from Alpha Bracket. First off, we got to go with game over here. Yeah, they went 6-0 in Swiss. They're the number 1 seed. We see number 1 seeds crash and burn a lot in Alpha Bracket. Instead, they come out the gate, game 1, sweeping Fire Aura, barely losing the Sirius we talked about on that Skipper Bazillion Zones game, and then going down here, sweeping Sentinels, 2-1 over Fallen Ink, and then losing ultimately to Syntopia. I lied. They asked in Help Desk where they finished. I told them they finished 7th. That's not correct. This is the 3rd place match, 4th place. They tied for 5th, actually. So they did better than what I told them in Help Desk. My bad. Game over. If you're listening, you guys tied for 5th, not 7th. If you want to like put that in your Twitter bio or whatever, I guess. I don't know. Game over, a strong team. We got to pay attention to those guys. They're a top 10 team for sure next month. Ink Luminati's obviously deserve some credit here because of the losers bracket run they went on. Fallen Ink said, you guys are not ready for this yet. We're going to give you a 3-0 loss to start off this Sunday. And then Ink Luminati said, okay, wake up. We're good now. 2-0 Sekis Naga. 2-1 Access Denied, giving them an early into their Sunday. 2-1 against Leg, a new fan favorite team just based off of their name. 2-0 Myopsidus, 2-1 Syntopia, and then ultimately falling in to Sirius in losers final there. So 5 straight loser matches that they won going into losers finals. Ink Luminati's in the feedback channel, hey, we love counter picks. It helped us out. Yeah. I think the teams that finished at the top here probably were big fans of the counter picks. I bet the teams that finished around this spot were probably like, this sucked. But Ink Luminati's taking advantage of the new system and running all the way through. I said this is their first Low Ink. We knew Ink Luminati's were going to be good. We didn't know how good. And now we know. The Ink Luminati's get the job done, and they're the 3rd place team, and they are who we thought they were, except they were a little bit better. The biggest winner, I think, of the entire tournament has to go to Myopsidus here. This is what first burned me. I I set a goal every low ink to try to get as many channel points as I can on the prediction thing. I put about, I don't know, I think I put like 8,000 points on Sekis Naga in this matchup, and my Myopsidus just destroyed. Bowen put down like a 500 point bet on my Myopsidus, and I think he ended up getting like 10,000 points off of it because of how all lopsided the odds were. And it's like, wow. But my Myopsidus, the 3-1 win over Sekis Naga here, 3-2 win over Fallen Ink, fell to Sirius, and then went on... after falling to Sirius, went down here to Inklu, and obviously got the loss here. But Sir, why is Myopsidus the team that I'm giving the biggest winner role in this tournament to? Because the last time they played in low ink, they went 2-4. They didn't even come close to qualifying for Gamma, and here they are qualifying for Alpha and then ripping up a couple of teams in the process here. This is a huge turnaround for Myopsidus in just a couple of months. And this is the kind of result that you love seeing from teams playing in low ink. So hats off to them. But ultimately, the team that ended up winning the entire tournament, obviously, the winner that gets the actual prize. Ink Illuminati should have had that last Clan Blitz match versus Sirius. They did. They win it. They won it. I don't think Sirius picked a Clan Blitz map in Game 4. I don't recall. I forget what it was, but I don't think they picked Clan Blitz. That would have been a bad decision to pick Clan Blitz after how that Game 3 went. But if we're talking about Grand Finals here, Hero Fan Club just had Sirius's number here. Getting the 4-1 result, winning 3 straight games. And we kind of talked about this on stream. But if you wanted to win the tournament, if you did your counter picks right, you could put it into a situation to where the other team could only pick one mode, and that's kind of what Sirius did. They I feel like Sirius played smart with their counter picks. They if they were going to lose, they at least put themselves in a situation to where making a bracket resetting reverse sweep was possible by making all the games Clan Blitz only. And, I was confused why they didn't pick Clan Blitz in Game 4, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute. They can still pick Splat Zones, and Hero Fan Club still has to pick Clan Blitz. So why not go with your best map, which was Skipper Pavilion, so they could use those bubbles in an epic win for Sirius. But then Hero Fan Club said, okay, well, we have to pick Clan Blitz, so let's just win it on the first game, and they did, Shipyard. So what does this mean for both teams going forward? Man, for Sirius... They tie. They're now in the same category as Last Chance, the team that the last team to make Grand Finals twice in a row without winning it. That was in August and September of last year, where Last Chance lost to Luau and then Xanadu respectively. Sirius now losing to the Deep Fried Octolings and now Hero Fan Club in back-to-back months. Got to be frustrating. You don't want to be known as the team that constantly. Makes it to the Super Bowl but can't get the job done. The good news for Sirius, though, the story last month was that they were having DC issues. No DC issues at all this month. They were on stream, 4 matches? No DC, no lag issues at all. So that's cleared up. That probably makes them feel bad, though, because it's like, man, if we had this internet connection last month, we might not even have been allowed into the tournament here. I understand that kind of frustration, but Sirius, man, you got to get the sense they got to be the number 1 team next year. I mean, they got to be, or next month, they got to be still considered the favorite here. They are beatable. Game Over almost got them. Ink Lumina, other teams were taking some games off of them. They did lose on Saturday. But they are beatable. It's just, I don't know. I still feel like they got to be considered the favorite until somebody beats them earlier on Sunday, as opposed to them making it to Grand Finals every single month. For Hero Fan Club, again, kind of talked about them a little bit earlier in the stream, but this is the question we got to ask of Hero Fan Club, because a lot of teams have been winning low ink this year and then ride off into the sunset and we never see them again. Hero Fan Club, they say they're a new team. This is their first time playing in a tournament, and they win it in low ink. Where can you go from here? And someone asked in my suggested topic channel, I think it was Nightwing asked to do a topic on what do you do after you win low ink? Like, how do you go from low ink champion to a consistent mid-level team? And that's kind of the question we've been asking of a lot of teams. And the answer has just been, you play for a month and then you disband. So for Heroes Fan Club, they got something here. And we don't know how good Heroes Fan Club is. And they don't know how good they are because they've only played for 2 days. So it's like, once they get actual synergy and build up something, maybe they can become a really strong team going forward. And hopefully they do. But, you know, what these guys really need right now, and a lot of teams really need this, what they really could benefit from is having an SAC. Like, if they had an SAC and they can go up against those other Div 4 teams, they go up against the Deep Fried Octolings, like the other low ink champions that are still eligible for SAC, that would be the best thing for a lot of teams right now. But until that happens, you know, I think these guys played in SOS under the name of Your Mom or something, or some testing grounds or some things like that. So there's still some things to do, but hopefully these guys still stick around and they become an even stronger team that we talk about for months on end, instead of just being this trend that we have been seeing of a team that just wins low ink. And then who's the team that won it back in July of 2021? Heroes Fan Club, was that the name of that team? Were they a pickup team or something? This is the beginning of their legacy. What they do with it from here on out is up to them. But this isn't the end for Heroes Fan Club. They want to become something that we all remember. It's up to them to do it right now, and hopefully they do, because they got a pretty solid roster, a solid team put together to win this tournament. That being said, that's all I have to say about low ink. Great tournament. Again, leave some feedback if you feel like you got some good feedback that you want to leave. I am going to be taking off next week unless something so bizarre happens during the Turf War tournament. I probably won't have a Popcast episode next week because I'll be on vacation. If something does crazy happen, though, maybe I will. Who knows? Regardless, if you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, please feel free to reach out. My socials below: Twitter at Mr_Popgun, Discord at Popgun, hashtag 5882, YouTube at Popgun at 25 Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. Kiki is streaming again, so let's go raid Kiki. I gotta run. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. Make sure you wear your mask. I think the cases in the United States are surging again, so just be mindful of that. Go get vaccinated, you idiots. Like, come on. Like, come on. Do me a favor and go get vaccinated. And maybe I'll stream Hero Omi or whatever, if you do.